All right, what's up, everybody? It's Adrian here. I'm today accompanied by Dom and Andre. We're gonna be reviewing some artwork that we found in our past. This one I did back in 2014, and in this labs episode from Lightshare, we're gonna be exploring some possibilities on how to improve this piece. What would you do on this piece if you had to kind of revamp it today? So, guys, welcome to the episode.
Hello. Awesome. Let's do it.
Also, we're using this tool where we can actually interact somehow. You know, we can see each other's cursors around and just, you know, feel free to scribble around and give your annotations as you please. Because the first thing I see here is like before the perspective, before the color and any of that, I see a big trouble with values. You know, like what's in the distance is way too dark.
What was like your thought process when you started this piece?
When I started this piece, I actually just wanted to represent like a crash site. You know, like there's obviously like an impact going on here. Something just dropped, and within that line of thinking, I wanted to show what follows next, which are more of these, whatever they are, you know, meteorites or whatever. Asteroids. So they're dropping in here, and these people are like expecting it somehow. Actually, the piece is called "They Are Here." So yeah, I don't know. I was just trying different things, you know, color dodge mode on the brush, this specific brush that has like these lights kind of on the stroke. And I'm like thinking sci-fi, and let's mix together like this natural landscape and some sci-fi elements, like some buildings or something. But it's, as you can see, it's very rough. And one thing that I noticed here is that I was trying to separate like the foreground, which would be down here, right? Mm-hmm. Lasso tool, just paint some fog so you can push away the lower side of that other part. But that was it. So
I think you have the right idea in mind. Like the subject matter is cool. Is this a drill or of some sort? Or
no, just
like a rock structure?
It kind of looks like a house thing.
Yeah,
like
it's a building
here.
Okay,
exactly. It's a building that has maybe two pillars there. They're like curved.
Like if this is the size of a person here, like the size of a person over there would be like this.
Exactly.
Very small.
Yeah. Probably even smaller. Yeah.
This is a gigantic building, which
is
the first thing that comes to mind when I look at. Well, a lot of things come to mind, but
you go first.
I really like the idea. I do think. Well, there is a couple of things that are very much beginner stuff, especially when you mentioned they were experimenting with brushes, right? Like you see a lot of inconsistency on how like patches of what I assume are snow,
they're all the same,
or patches of like light. They're not only all the same, but they don't have any sort of system to them, right? So like you have light here, light here, light here, light here, like everywhere.
It's even worse than I thought.
And you have like an overcast scenario, so it's kind of like that's the first thing that I noticed. And the fog is kind of like this huge block of all of the sudden from here on backwards, like further to the like in terms of depth. That's where it really hits, right? You don't see any, like you see a little bit of it here, but not really that much. And it only affects the darks. Like this light is still like extremely bright, even though it's technically like very far away. But I do like the composition, though. I do like the idea that you have this nice shape here, and then like the other one here. I think your shapes are super cool.
Yeah,
this whole thing.
The visual weight distribution.
Yeah,
could be a little better though.
Just
because you see,
like, the angle on these could be like a bit better. Maybe the explosion would be here.
This is the horizon line. It's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, like moving this also somehow to the right side a little bit, so we have like that breathing room between this object and these two objects.
It would be nice to see like these more angled towards that as well. Like kind of entering the atmosphere a little bit more in a diagonal.
Yeah.
And the fog is like clearly too dark, but the splash of this, if it's falling on the water,
maybe there can be like a mountain range here or something,
yeah,
like along this ridge, or something where we can see like the water line go back in space and it recedes. And
yeah, because you can see
like
there's some coastline visible back there.
all right.
But then anything here is covered by the splash, which contains maybe both water and something else. Maybe, do you guys see these particles here? They look like something organic, like some organic matter, like someone got...
They look like this thing here, but destroyed.
Yeah.
Like the sort of like red,
like it exploded or
thing.
Yeah. I chose this shade of like purple or red or whatever this is, like to represent some sort of flesh, like alien looking possibility for either the land.
Have you watched War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise version?
Yeah.
I think it's 2002. I think they have these like weird things that the aliens kind of lay on top of the people, like they kind of spray this weird thing.
Yeah, this organic fleshy looking. Yeah.
So I guess it's just about defining the materials.
Yeah,
like
in that case, perhaps since it looks like a corruption kind of thing, like something that's crawling up to the artificially built structures here, maybe they could really use some ramifications on the coast. And if so, perhaps the water could display that sort of tint, as if something's corrupting this land from the water and is slowly crawling uphill here. So
I think that would be cool. And also, like, you have water and this kind of overcast environment. Like, I do think in terms of the use, because Dom mentioned the material there, and I can see that happening because like everything kind of is painted the same way. But if you made this like a little bit darker, the sky, like a darker overcast, you can really use the reflections here to overemphasize like how bright these would be.
Yeah, right.
The night sky and how bright the explosion is.
Yeah, like separating these two, like the foreground elements.
Oh,
and they would be cool. They'll be falling into a better like a better spot for the rule of thirds and the composition rules and everything, I believe. And one thing I could do, I don't know, because these compositions, like I mentioned earlier, where the horizon line is like in the exact middle center of the image, tend to feel quite boring, as opposed to the ones where the horizon line is closer to the bottom side of the image or the top side of the image, because then on either of them you see either more land or more sky. So this one seems to be kind of trying to frame both things, and it doesn't seem to be the sky doesn't seem to contain as many interest elements as on the floor.
It like way above here on this one, just so we can have like the real state to really show that like how far away things are here. And
I would raise the horizon up here.
You could also push up this mountain right here too, so that way this lands in that rule of thirds.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's right. See, these guys could be really up there.
And you can even like use this farm language here to have like, maybe you are on a hill here and there's a version of that house kind of like poking through here. So like you have that really pointy stuff as well somewhere. Yeah. Because it does create like this disconnect between, we don't know if that's a structure or not. Like it does look like
looks pretty organic, right?
But yeah, it does look pretty organic. And
same color.
If you relate that to the characters, because it's all fine if it's the same color, because then things are overgrowing on top of it, and that's fine. But we don't see how that relates to the characters, so we don't know if these characters are arriving at a scene and that's already there, or if this is how they live and the other things are happening to them.
Yeah.
And separating like all of these, having like, okay, so I have this motif here, can have this motif here.
Mm.
Maybe have like a pathway showing here. And
Yeah,
then
maybe that
the other
S
one,
curve somehow that
Yeah.
leads from the foreground to the middle
because
ground.
this way you have the meteorites kind of arriving, right? This is like main focal point in a way, because it's the brightest point as well. It has those accents, and then your eyes go left and travel all the way across here in the foreground.
Yeah, and this can be like much further away, which if it's much
Yeah.
further away and the explosion is still this size, then it gives that impact of like, oh god, this is a huge, gigantic explosion.
And it matches their reaction a little more, maybe, because if it lands so close to you, you would probably be like, yo, wait a minute.
Like, none of this would exist, you know.
They wouldn't be
washed
standing like
away
that.
within seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But it also, like, I do feel like it's a missed opportunity to have everything else being darker and like this lighting up the entire space, you know, like a huge explosion in the middle of the like almost afternoon kind of thing, you know, like it's almost the sun setting.
Yeah.
But it's already a dark day, so like you get this huge bright light there.
I mean, yeah, you could also just experiment with other different light sources, maybe play with different times of day, like maybe it's sunset or morning time.
Yeah,
just so
I
there's
think
maybe some light peeking through.
Darker sky seems to fit better, just because it helps to display the brightness in those meteorites, you know.
It could also be nighttime too, and maybe like this village is lit up with lights.
Oh, yeah.
And then this explosion would just be the main focal point, where it's that bright light centered right there. And then everything else is dark, so it's like a night sky.
So maybe
it's
we
dark
could have
and it's kind of blue, right?
Some
so
more
you have the
mountains.
Orange bright light.
Yeah.
Okay, I see
Night
this.
Sky.
And
Explosion.
the meteorites, well, the one that already impacted has basically broken through this mountain here, and you see the particles shooting up
It'd
into
be nice
the...
for you to check some reference of like volcano explosions.
Yeah. That's what I'm imagining,
like,
kind of. And you can see the base of it, like with some different shades, like almost as if the temperature was so high that it kind of lit up the, the floor.
The water reflection over there would be like beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like
Perhaps this could be more like a bay, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could maybe have this
like a cove
nice,
or a
different shape in the coast instead of this very broken kind of edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Man, it's so cool now, like, to look at this with everything you know right now, after so many years of practicing and getting more experience and everything. You'll look at this and it's like there's so many ideas coming through your mind, and the fact that you can apply them and externalize those thoughts and implement these changes and basically materialize those ideas with a better set of skills, it's going to come out at a much higher quality than anything you could have done back then, and that feels so satisfying. So I can't wait to...
You know what's really cool is like you can see that clearly the issue before was the skill set, right? Not like the idea is the same. The idea is super cool, and it was always super cool. It's just like your ability to execute on it. Just
that's what changes.
Your eyes have matured, so now you can see intuitively every single detail.
You gain more awareness, and your tools improve, And I'm not talking about the software you use or the hardware you use. I'm talking about your capability of witnessing and spotting these mistakes and instantly changing them in the most accurate and effective way possible. Whereas maybe if you guys told me this if you gave me this feedback back then, perhaps I would have tried, but I'm sure it wouldn't have come out as anything remotely close to whatever I'm going to do with it now. So I can't wait to get my hands on it and come up with like a second version of this. Do you guys
Can't wait to see it.
Do you guys usually do this? Like, do you go back and fix your older work when you get feedback on it? I used to just say,
If I can to,
okay,
but
next one. And on my next artwork, I'll apply this feedback, but not on my past
maybe
artwork,
like
you know?
coming back in several years, it's fun to do. But when it's sort of like right at that second, you kind of just want to be done with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking back at it, maybe 5 years from now, it's cool to change it because it's like now you've leveled up all of these skill sets, and then you can apply them and make it extraordinary.
You got that time to like detach emotionally from the piece, then it's easier to like go back at it, right?
Yeah.
You're not just like I just look at this piece like for 20 plus hours. I don't want to look at it anymore. So even if you have feedback, keep it to yourself. And then like when you come back after, I don't know, a year or two, like that's a bit easier. And it depends if you still like the idea, then it's worthwhile.
This painting is cool, man. Can't wait to
Thank
see
you
what
guys.
you come up with.
Thank you for your feedback. Yeah, I think this is the end of the episode, right? We're going to wrap it up here. At this point, we just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. We hope you liked it. We hope you learned something, because I sure did. And we hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Bye
Bye-bye.
guys.